Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start with rather design of RCC continuous beam. When we call a beam as a continuous beam, so when we are having a beam resting on various supports. Support may be simply supported we are having, and maybe it is fixed at one end and maybe it is free at other end. So this is what is called as continuous beam, and it is statically indeterminate structure. Now as of now you are knowing, rather providing statically determinate structures, statically indeterminate structures are always economical, and this is in practice we are providing continuous beams. Let us consider a plan over here. So here in this case what we observe is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slab panels. This is a plan over here. I'll just change the we are having this each slab panel as this is 5 meter, this is also 5 meter, this each panel 4 meter, yes, and we have to design this beam, a continuous beam which is resting on support. Support for beam is a column, or in other words beams are resting on columns, or columns are supporting beam. So this is A is a column, B, C, D and E. So this is what is a continuous beam we have to design. Now if we consider this 4 meter by 5 meter, each panel is having its dimensions. For design of this beam we are having known data, or sometimes we call it as a given data. We are having live load 4 kilonewton per meter square, floor finish, thickness of slab, width of support, thickness of wall, height of wall, unit weight of masonry, and grades of concrete and steel are mentioned, and accordingly we are having FCK and FY values. Fine. Now when we are considering it as, or when we have to start with design of beam, very first step is to calculate loads on beam, and after loads we have to analyze beam, and after analysis we have to design a beam. Now we will consider the loads coming on beam. So when we have to say load calculation, we have seen the beam is continuous beam cast monolithically with the slab. Now this is the general concept that the beam cast monolithically means concreting done monolithically with the slab. But in addition to this, very important is to see whether the reinforcement is provided in such a way that it creates continuity effect over support or not. Okay. In next part I will be showing you reinforcement which creates continue effect on support, and with the concreting as a monolithically concreting continuous over there, but by providing or cutting down reinforcement over support, that beam can be considered as simply supported or fixed beam, right? Now when we are having now this slab, we can see over here it is 4 meter by 5 meter. Let us first identify what type of slab it is. So when we are considering it as a aspect ratio to identify type of slab, we are having, or we have to consider Ly by Lx. Ly and Lx. Y and Lx is nothing to do with directions. Ly is longer direction, Lx is shorter direction. Ly we are having 5 meter, Lx we are having 4 meter, and this is less than 2 we will be getting. So when such a case is there, aspect ratio Ly by Lx, it is less than 2, we are going to call it as a two-way slab. Now why we have to identify this, whether it is a two-way slab or one-way slab? Because we are knowing based on the type of slab over here. Now we have identified this, each slab is two-way slab, means the main reinforcement is provided along both the directions. What is the purpose of this to identify this type of slab? It indicates whatever is the total load of slab, it is distributed over all four beams over here. If it is one-way slab, then what's the case? In one-way slab, we consider only one direction critical bending, and accordingly total load of slab, it is transferred only on two beams. But in case of two-way slab, total load, it is transferred on all four beams, and that is why it is important to transfer the load of slab on beam. Very first step is to identify what type of slab it is. Now we have identified that it is two-way slab. It means we have to transfer total load on all four beams. Now one more important thing, when we have to design a continuous beam, we have to identify what type of cross section it is. So we will consider, I am just considering this, say I will call it as S1 and S2. I will consider this particular portion over here and the beam like this, S2, S3, all I will write over here, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7 and S8, right? So I will be just considering a beam over here. So this is what is our beam. I will be considering only two bays over here. This is A, B, C. Fine. Now what we are having? We can see AB, when I will be considering, we are having S1 and S8 over here, and for BC we are having S2 and S7. S1 is there, so like this we are having a slab. Here it is S1, here it is S2, here it is what's the number, 8 and 7. Here it is S8 and here it is S7. Now what? When we will be considering this as a continuous beam, for the continuous beam, if I will be considering any of the two span, and if we refer to the deflected shape, so continuity effect means it is going to deflect like this. Like this means what? At mid span there is a sagging, and over support there is a hogging. What does this means? It means at mid span tension is at bottom and over support tension is at top. So this is what is very important thing when we have to design or when we have to identify cross section of beam. Now let us consider this AB span. If we identify such kind of deflection over here, it means somewhere over here at mid span there is a sagging moment. Sagging moment means this is a positive moment. Positive moment means here in this case tension is at bottom. So when we are considering tension at bottom and we are having slab over here, then the top portion of slab, now for this particular point I'll show its cross section. So this is what is a slab we are having, this is the slab we are having, right? And this the beam which we are going to provide, we are having, this is continued. Okay, now what, here in this case we are having tension at bottom, so here there is a tension, and compression at top. So slab is also a flexure member and there is a compression at top of slab. Since slab is also a flexure member, it means here in this case we can use or we can utilize cross section of slab or some portion of slab as a part of beam. It means now we can identify this as total depth of beam. Thus we can achieve economy over here. Some portion of slab we can consider as a part of beam, and that's why now it becomes flanged beam. So this is what is our cross section of a beam. You can see now it is taking a shape of T. So this is called as flanged beam and this is a denoted as T beam since it is taking a shape of T over here, right? Now reverse is the case over support. This is, I'll say, at section 1. This is what is at section 1. Now I'll take a case over support. Now at support slab is there, right? So this is what is the slab we are having, right? I'll again show a slab and again we are having a portion of web, that is beam, right? But here in this case what is happening? Over support there is a hogging. Hogging means what? Now this beam, it is having tension at top and compression at bottom. Since there is a hogging deflection, it means what? It means whatever is the portion of slab which is in compression, we cannot utilize that portion of slab as a part of beam, and that is why over support we have to design this beam as rectangular section. Slab we are having throughout, no doubt there is a slab, but since there is a change in behavior, change in deflected shape, at mid span there is a sagging, over support it is hogging. So at mid span we are going to design flanged beam, and over support we have to design it like a rectangular section. If we are considering beam at edge and we are having slab only on one side. Now look at this beam, I am considering this beam and slab is only to one side. So what we are having over there, the cross section will be, this is what a beam, this is slab portion. So you can see now some portion of the slab we have to utilize as a flange of a beam since it is in compression. So we can consider this as, now you can see this is taking a shape of L, right? So this is flanged only, but it is L shape beam or it is called as L beam. Though it is a flanged beam, since it is having L shape, it is L shaped beam, and this is also flanged beam, but it is T shaped beam. So in this way we are having in continuous beam, two different types of cross sections we have to design. At midspan, flanged section, maybe it is of a shape T or L, and over support we have to design it like a rectangular section. Understand? So this is what here we have identified. We have identified the slab is two-way slab and the cross sections for beam which we have to design for A, B, C, D, E beam. At midspan we have to design it like a T beam, and over support we have to design it like a rectangular beam. Okay. Now to start with load calculations, very first thing we have to do is we have to identify trial depth. When we have to consider trial depth, we are considering in case of beams, effective depth D is equals to span by 15. We are considering it as span by 15. Span, when we are considering, always we are considering shorter dimension, and that shorter dimension we are having as 4000. So this is 4000 by 15. We will be getting it as something 266 mm, right? Now we have to assume effective cover over here. I will be not assuming diameter of bar, I will be not considering table number 16 of IS 456, because we will be directly considering over here assuming effective cover as, say for example, 35 mm. In slab we have seen the effective cover, we will be taking it as 20 mm, 25 mm or 30 mm. But in case of beams, effective cover we have to provide 35 to 50 mm. And considering this 35 mm and increasing this overall depth, directly for design purpose we will be considering overall depth. Of course we have to check, this is a trial depth. Overall depth we will be considering it as 350 mm, and hence effective depth, which is denoted as small d, it is 350 minus 35, which we will be getting it as 315 mm. See, just by this basic assumption we will be getting it as 266 mm. If we will be considering this as 35 or 45 even, the depth, overall depth will be coming as 300 mm. But we are not considering it as 300 mm, slightly we are increasing. This is for the, what should be the minimum value. So slightly we have increased it as 350 mm, and we will be getting this effective depth as 315 mm. Now once we have identified with this effective depth, now we have to determine effective span. As we have seen in case of slab, effective span we have to calculate using or referring IS 456 codal provisions, and that is clause 22.2 part B of IS 456 2000. And what the clause is saying, this is for the B is for the continuous span, and what we have to, or what the clause is saying, we first have to check the width of support. What is width of support? So the width of support here in this case, I will write first width of support. It is given as, you can see, width of support is 230 mm. So this width of support, it is 230 mm, and if this width of support it is less than clear span divided by 12 as per the codal provisions, then we will be design, or we will be calculate effective span as like simply supported beam. Though it is a continuous beam, but if this criteria is satisfying, if this criteria is true, then we have to use clause A 22.2a, which is for simply supported beam. right? Now let us identify clear span. Whatever is this 4000, it is center to center of the, you can see over here, it is center to center of the support, right? Now we have to find out how much is the clear span. Clear span is between the, so if I am having this, I'll draw quickly a small beam over here, right? So this is what is our clear span. How to calculate this clear span? So we have given with this center to center distance as 4 meter. This center to center distance as 4 meter and width of support is mentioned as 230. So from this 4 meter we have to deduct 230 by 2 from this side and 230 by 2 from this side. So in this way we have to deduct from this total center to center distance 230 we have to deduct, and this we will be getting it as something, you can check it, it is less than, this is 3770 by 12 and this value, it is 230 is less than this value. Hence we have to calculate, or we have to consider effective span not by considering continuous beam effect, but we have to consider it as per clause 22.2a. And what is that effective span is mentioned for simply supported case. There are two cases. L effective is equals to clear span plus effective depth, or the second is L effective is equals to center to center distance, which is already we are having it as 4000 mm. This is what clear span we have calculated over here. It is 3770 plus effective depth is 315, which comes out to be 4085 mm, and amongst these two whichever is less, that is our effective span. Hence we will be considering here onwards in all our calculations effective span as 4000 mm. Okay, so this is how we have identified with the effective span. Once we have identified with trial depth and further effective span, now next is to calculate actual loads on beam. When we have to consider loads on beam, we are having different loads such as dead load on beam and live load on beam. Dead load on beam includes load from slab, self-weight due to wall and self-weight of beam. So let us first calculate load from slab. Now when we have to consider load from slab, we have already identified that we are having it as a two-way slab. And let's say we are considering this beam. This is the beam under consideration DE, or any of the beam, okay, any of the span. So how much is the load over here? Now you can see I have considered this panel, say S4. What the code is saying, how to transfer load from slab to beam. So from the corner we have to mark a line which is at an angle of 45 degree. From this corner also we have to mark a line at an angle of 45 degree. This will meet somewhere, and now this becomes a triangle. This becomes a triangle. So on this beam we will be having such kind of triangular load, such kind of triangle load. Same way for this side also we have to do. Prepare, we'll be getting one triangle over here at an angle 45 degree. This is also 45 degree. Will be getting triangular load on this beam. So for this particular beam we are having this trapezoidal load. You can see over here, this is what is a trapezoidal load on this beam, right? So in this way, when we are considering load transfer from slab to beam, on longer beam we are having trapezoidal load, and on shorter beam we are having triangular load. But as we know, when we have to design a beam, we have to consider that our beam should be subjected to uniformly distributed load. So this triangular load over here See, this is what is actually, I am now considering randomly a single span. This is what actually the beam is subjected to triangle load, but this we have to consider it as equivalent to uniformly distributed load. And this is the reason, though we can directly calculate with the known intensity of load on slab, we can calculate how much is the triangular load coming on slab, but we are not considering triangular load, or not even we are going to consider trapezoidal load. But what we will be considering, we are going to consider equivalent. We are not getting actual value of UDL, but we are considering equivalent uniformly distributed load. And for two-way slab, load from slab, this equivalent slab load is, we have already seen this, it is W into Lx by 3. W into Lx by 3. Now like this we are having from both the sides, from S4 as well as S6. So straightway I am going to multiply it by 2, since in both the case we are having intensity from slab is same and we are having Lx as same. Okay. Now let us calculate this 2 into what is the intensity or load on slab. So we know when we have to calculate load on slab, it is 25, that is density of concrete 25 kilonewton per meter cube. We have to multiply it by thickness of slab and we have to multiply it by 1 meter strip, because we have seen while designing a slab, for slab analysis and design we always consider 1 meter width strip. So we will be getting this as 25 B into D, this divided by 3 into Lx, into Lx. So we'll do it. This is 2 into 25 B strip 1 meter, depth of slab or thickness of slab, it is mentioned 230 mm. No, thickness of slab is mentioned 130 mm. So this is converting it into meter, 0.13. This is into 4 by 3. 4 is the span. So this comes out to be 11.33 kilonewton per running meter. So this is load from slab. Now we have to find out load from wall. So again on the same line, we have to consider unit weight of masonry into, we have to consider thickness of wall into, we have to consider height of wall. Since this is also we want as per running meter length of beam. Okay. So we are given with unit weight of masonry as 20 kilonewton per meter cube and thickness of wall is 230 and height of wall is 3 meter. So we will be considering over here 20 kilonewton per meter cube into thickness of wall 230 mm, converting it into meter, it is 0.23 into height as 3 meter. So this is what we will be getting again as 13.80 kilonewton per running meter. Per running meter means it is per running meter span of beam. Remember what is per running meter span of beam. And now we have to find out how much is the self weight of beam. So for this self weight of beam, we have to this is also from concrete, so we have to consider density of concrete 25 kilonewton per meter cube into width of the beam or width of the support. Let us assume this width of the beam as 230 mm. So it is 0.23 into, now we have to identify depth of the beam, and for identifying this depth of beam we have to consider this flanged beam as T section, and when we will be considering this as T section, this depth of beam, it is equals to, we are having total depth. We have already calculated overall depth as 350 mm. So this overall depth we have calculated as 350 mm, this minus thickness of slab. This thickness of slab, it is given as 130 mm. So this 350 minus 130, what remains is the depth of concrete for beam, because this slab, concreting in slab, we have already considered in calculation of weight of slab. So we are going to deduct this much portion and we are going to consider only this web of beam. Okay. So this is what we are having. Then 350, or we want in meter, 0.35 minus 0.13. So this self weight of beam, again this also we want in kilonewton per meter. So this comes out to be 1.27 kilonewton per meter. Okay, and thus we will be getting total load 11.33 plus 13.80 plus 1.27. This total load, total dead load is equals to 26.4 kilonewton per running meter. So this is what is total dead load, which includes load from slab, self weight due to self weight due to wall, and self weight of beam. Okay. Now we have to find out live load. Now we have to find out live load. Again on the same line, we have to consider equivalent slab load from both sides. What is equivalent? That already I have discussed. Triangular load or maybe trapezoidal load, that we have to convert it as, or consider equivalent as, uniformly distributed load, and for this we will be getting it as 2 times, because we are having 2 slabs on either side of a beam. So it is 2 times W into Lx by 3. W into Lx by 3. So this live load, intensity of live load is already given as 4 kilonewton per meter square. We will be considering this only. Equivalent, this load is now 2 into 4 into Lx is 4, this divided by 3, and this is equal to, we will be getting it as 10.67 kilonewton per running meter. Okay. So this is what is the self weight, live load on slab. Now we have to determine factored load. So factored dead load we are having, we have already calculated with the dead load as 26.4 kilonewton per running meter. So multiplied by factor of safety, that is 1.5 for concrete, it is 1.5 into 26.4, we will be getting it as 39.6 kilonewton per running meter, and for live load we will be getting it as 1.5 into 10.67, which is equals to 16 kilonewton per running meter. So this is what is our factored load and factored dead load and factored live load. So this is load calculations on continuous beam. Once we have calculated, identified this loads on beams, now the next part is analysis of beams, that we are going to see in the further part. Okay, so stay tuned till that time.